What's going on, everybody? Gen X Games here. So OV, one of our subscribers, reached out and wanted me to do an armor and weapons guide. Now, I've been avoiding these two topics specifically for a reason. To me, it's really all subjective anyways. But since OV is fam, I'm gonna do it like this. Personally, I give a shit about the specifics on what armor does what, or what weapon does this, or whatever. All I know is, can I whoop some ass with it, and does it need to do what I needed to do? So this won't be an armor guide per se, but more like a gameplay armor progression type of deal. So if that sounds good to you, let's check out some armor. But before we do, hit the subscribe button, throw up a thumb, and let's go. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I'm not a G at this game. I'm still kind of a noob like some of y'all. I just played it before. What I know is barely surface, very broad, and fairly general. If you check out the last quest episode, I'm almost to the point where I was when I left off a bit over a year ago when I stopped playing. With that being said, let's start from the beginning. We all start out running around in our draws. Then we get to that initial fiber jumpsuit point, and at that point, you got two options. Option number one, if you got the balls, you can head straight up to Sepa Maru and start grinding and get your shit before the sandstorm hits. With this option, you need to build a shelter real quick, then get the resources you need to craft the armor from scratch, like a blacksmith bench, armor bench, tannery, and a furnace, etc. Now mind you, you'll be in your fiber suit the whole time, but it can easily be done, and there's every resource you need until you reach the higher levels. The advantage here is that you can bypass the medium set armor and go straight for the heavy set, if that's something that you want to do, because you could get the thick hide and horns you need from the rhinos. You'll just have your fiber jumpsuit to protect you is all. Option number two, now you can build you a little safe house and start farming you some armor on Noob River. This is usually what I do because for some reason I always get caught up in a damn sandstorm. No joke, shit is serious. The advantage here is your armor protection goes up gradually with every piece you collect. You tend to level up at a steady pace, and the threats that surround you aren't as threatening. Plus, you get a little familiar with the game. Although it might take a little longer, you can leave Noob River rocking some heavy armor, having a bit of confidence knowing you can whoop a little ass if something happens to come your way. So what do you need to get? At least to get to that point. Now the base ingredient you need for any armor is padding. For light padding, you need some hide and twine. For medium padding, you need some leather and twine. For heavy padding, you just need some thick leather. Now obviously the easiest option is to craft you an armor's bench at level 10, make you some light armor, and be on your way to Sepa Maru. I tend to hang around Noob River and build my strength attributes up and my armor, so by the time I get to Sepa Maru, I could pretty much handle business if I need to and focus more on building a bigger, more efficient, functional base. So I usually farm my medium sets of armor for me and my thralls if I have one. I usually get these from single skull bosses on the river. I don't tend to craft these, I just farm them. One of the single skull bosses is located on the top right of E3 and E4, and the other one's located wandering the beaches between F4 and G4. Once I'm confident I can kill damn near everything on Noob River without much of a struggle, then I get what I need in order to make some heavy armor, with the main things being an armor thrall and a couple of horns. Obviously, you need some thick leather, which is why you need the armor, some regular leather, and some iron bars. The armor thrall location looks like this, and is located at the bottom right of E4. You place this guy at a tanner's table to make you some thick hide. Next, I get my horns from the big antelope looking things. One is located at G4 on the map, and right across the way, there's another big looking antelope thing located at H4 on the map. Now you can only get one horn from each one you kill, so you need to kill both of them in order to make one heavy helmet. Once I do what I need to do on Noob River, I head up to Sepa Maru. Once I'm in Sepa Maru, I do whatever I gotta do until I hit level 30, and the first thing I do is craft the sandstorm breathing mask. I only mention it because it's in the armor feats, and I hate dealing with those damn sandstorms. Now I usually rock the heavy armor until I hit level 40. Now there's some other cool shit you can rock, like the Hyrcanian set that unlocks at level 30, but I try to save my feat points because they're limited. Instead, I wait till I hit level 40 to unlock the veneer heavy armor. I do this mainly, one, because it looks pretty badass, two, the armor value is one of the highest at the level, so I can open up some cans if I need to, three, based on looks alone, it looks like it'd be good in cold weather. This is the armor I choose in order to get the black ice and the star metal ore up in the snow. Now once I hit level 60, I choose the epic version of the veneer heavy set. Reason being, it does decent in the cold, the armor value is one of the highest, and to me, it's the least resource intensive. I say that because it takes the least amount of hardened leather to make, which is a factor to me, because hardened leather by itself is resource intense. At least it can be in the beginning. Not to mention, you need a lot of it in order to make the perfected protected heavy padding, but a lot of other armors need additional hardened leather in order to craft a single piece of armor on top of what's already needed for the padding, where this set doesn't. It just needs hardened steel bars, which you should have been making, and some star metal bars, which you've hopefully got while you were getting some black ice for the hardened steel. Basically, by the time you hit level 60, you should be able to craft this armor set immediately and be on your way to get the set I now have on, which should be every beginner's goal, and that's to get the Silent Legion armor. In order to get this armor, you need to go to the Black Keep dungeon. In order to get there, you gotta cross a bridge, which is pretty damn cold if you hang out there too long, and you have to fight some pretty tough skeletons along the way. The entrance to the bridge is located right at the line of E11 and E10 on the map. Now, you don't have to defeat the boss, but there is a tablet you need to interact with in order to learn the recipe. However, if you do defeat the boss, you can harvest him and get a couple of ingredients you're gonna need. One of them being his heart, which is needed to craft the Telesaurus sword, which is a pretty dope sword, and I highly suggest that you try to get it, but we can talk about that later. Now, once you get that armor and that sword, you should be good to go. You should be able to go anywhere on the map and be cool as far as temperature is concerned. I tried this in the volcano and it did good. I tried it on the bridge on the Black Keep and no problems. Not only should you feel comfortable killing anything general on the map, however, you still need some tactical skills when fighting 3 skull bosses, but you should feel comfortable in your attempt to do so. Okay, shields. Now, I'm a shield guy. You may not be, and that's cool, but I usually just progress with the shields as they come. I usually upgrade to the iron shield, then move on to the steel shield, and then the ancient shield. I usually stick with that until I hit level 60, and then I craft the star metal shield. There's really no reason to craft the other one since the star metal shield has the highest health damage of the craftable shields. If I get a legendary shield, I'll probably use that, but I just haven't come across one yet. So shields, easy. Now on to the weapons. Again, all subjective. This is just how I roll. First, my thralls. I tend to give all of my thralls clubs. I don't know what it is, but I find they just handle shit if they have a club. I usually give my thrall a shield. Sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do. But most of the time I do. I'm sure there's a debate on this, but to each his own. As for me, there are 4 weapons I tend to craft. My first and main go-to is the club for 90% of my gameplay. To me, it just works. I'll go from the stone one all the way up to the star metal one. I always got one on me. The next one I tend to craft are daggers. I usually use the daggers when I fight a bigger animal and my level isn't up to par and I have a thrall at my side with the club, and definitely when I fight a 3 skull boss. My thrall cracking skulls with the club and me stacking bleeds I think is just a good combination for most situations. The next is the bow. This one I probably use the least, but you gotta have it. Mainly for the Dregs dungeon, but more so to get the star metal. Last but not least is the Telesaurus. It's just a dope weapon. I usually don't do two-handed weapons, but this sword with the Silent Legion armor, it just works. Once you get this combo, you won't be afraid to go anywhere on the map. Trust me. The only other weapons you may want to get prior to the Silent Legion armor and the Telesaurus is the Predatory Blade. And if you fight this guy, he has the potential to drop it. I just happened to get it the first time I found him, but you may have to farm him in order to get it. The last time I played this game, I never got it, and I farmed the shit out of that motherfucker. But anyway, so on a side note, I don't know about the hit points or anything like that. All I know is that it takes the same amount of physical hits from the Star Metal Club as it does from the Predatory Blade to take down just a regular wolf. I'm just saying, alright? Now obviously, I'm going to be rocking with some legendary weapons if they make sense. For example, I got me some legendary daggers, and they're better than anything that I could craft, so I roll with those. It's just common sense. I'm rolling with the Telesaurus right now because it's better than my Star Metal Club, but if I get me a legendary club that's better than the Telesaurus, then I'm gonna roll with that. There might even be a time when I use a bruiser weapon. It hasn't happened yet, but you never know. The only other piece of armor I'll probably get that I'll actually wear is the dragon armor set. I'll make sure to make that its own video for sure. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Hopefully this video helps those who need it, and hopefully it points you in a general direction and gives you a basic go to shoot for. Like I said, I'm just a beginner. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I just do what works best for me. So if I could kick ass and it helps me to do that, then I'm good. So with that being said, until next time, we'll see you on the next one.